In the photos that Elena Karimova posted on social media, she portrayed the image of a successful entrepreneur and a happy mother of 2 children. But behind the beautiful pictures, there was a failed marriage, debts, and dissatisfaction with life, which led to a tragic end. Ambitions. Elena was born in 1991 in Nizhny Novgorod. Her parents were ordinary people who tried to give their only daughter the best of everything. Partly because of this, Elena grew up spoiled, self-confident, and ambitious, believing that she deserved more. Despite all this, the young girl from Nizhny Novgorod had mediocre grades in school and even risked being held back a year. Although Elena was a very sociable person, she didn't want to befriend just anyone. She only formed relationships with promising people, those who, in her opinion, would be successful in the future. Marriage. One of those people in whom Elena placed high hopes was Aziz Karimov. The young man, 3 years older than Elena, enthusiastically told her about his trips to Belgium, where his relatives lived, about the business he would start, and how much he would earn. Elena decided that she shouldn't miss out on such an eligible suitor, and did everything she could to win Aziz over. She succeeded. As soon as she finished school, Karimov proposed to her. A couple of months later, they got married, and by the end of the summer, they moved to Belgium to live with Aziz's relatives, where they planned to start their own business, specifically a chocolate production company. Dreamers. However, the young couple soon realized that it wouldn't be easy. First, they lacked the startup capital. Second, they didn't know the language. Third, they had no idea where to begin. All the Karimovs had was a dream, but that wasn't enough. Faced with the first difficulties, they gave up on trying to start a business and just lived for their own pleasure. Since Aziz and Elena didn't plan on getting jobs, after 8 months, the relatives grew tired of supporting the carefree couple and asked them to move out. The capital. Unsuccessful, the business people were forced to return to Nizhny Novgorod in the spring of 2010. It was only then that Elena realized she had made a mistake in choosing her partner, so she filed for divorce. For a short time, she lived with her parents, but Elena couldn't shake the feeling that her acquaintances were laughing at her failed marriage. So later that same year, she decided to move to Moscow. Once in the capital, Elena rented a room and tried to find her prince on a white horse. When she couldn't find one, she was forced to take a job as a cashier at a gas station. The encounter. This was clearly not the life the young woman had dreamed of. To liven up her dull days, Elena usually went to a nightclub in the evenings. It was there, in 2012, that she met a 40-year-old Azerbaijani man named Nurlan. Less than a month later, a passionate romance ignited between the two. Elena wasn't eager to have children, but Nurlan convinced her that he was very wealthy and would soon propose to her. Eventually, Elena gave in to the man's persuasion. In 2014, the couple had a daughter, Khadija, and 2 years later, their second child was born, a son named Suleiman. Surprise! They rented a spacious apartment in a nice area of Moscow and settled there. Elena took care of the house and children, while Nurlan fully supported the family. Overall, Elena was satisfied with this life. The only thing that bothered her was that Nurlan was in no hurry to propose to her, and he never talked about his business or his regular trips back to his homeland. The reason for these oddities was revealed to Elena completely by accident. In the spring of 2017, she looked through Nurlan's phone and discovered messages between him and his legal wife. The choice. It turned out that Nurlan had been married for over 10 years. In Azerbaijan, he had a wife, 3 children, and parents who knew nothing about Elena or his illegitimate children. When the truth came out, Elena told Nurlan that he had to either divorce his first wife or she would leave him. To her great surprise, he chose the latter option. In May 2017, Nurlan packed his things and left Russia. For a while, he continued to support Elena financially, but soon after, He was placed on an international wanted list for a series of crimes, and since then, his whereabouts have been unknown. Chasing two birds with one stone, this left Elena alone with two small children. She started selling cosmetics and vitamins, but the money she earned wasn't enough even to cover the rent. So, in the fall of 2017, she was forced to move back in with her mother in Nizhny Novgorod. The elderly woman loved her grandchildren very much and was happy to help take care of them, while their mother tried to build her personal life and simultaneously grow her business. But in chasing two hares, Elena failed in all her endeavors. Men were not eager to pursue serious relationships with such a demanding and self-assured woman. She also lacked a flair for entrepreneurship, as Karimova was constantly borrowing money from friends and acquaintances. Godmother. Imagine the elderly woman's surprise when, in April 2018, she received a call from the bank informing her that she had overdue payments on a loan. It turned out that Elena had not made any payments on the loan for 3 months. The news was so distressing that it caused the old woman to fall ill, and she had to be hospitalized due to a worsening heart condition. Now that Elena had no one to leave the children with, she reached out to her godmother and told her a tearful story about how cruel and unfair the world was. Naturally, the godmother couldn't help but invite her goddaughter to stay with her. After asking relatives, friends, and acquaintances, Elena realized that no one wanted to look after her children. For half a month her mother, by the way, was still in the hospital, and Elena had only visited her once. It's unclear exactly when the woman came up with the plan to free herself from the children. It's likely that this idea had been brewing for many months because, according to her acquaintances, she had long stopped feeling attached to her son and daughter. In the photos, she hugs and kisses them, but in real life, she treated them with disdain. For her, the children were a burden. They got in the way of the life she wanted to live, shared one of Elena's acquaintances. However, on the morning of April 25, 2018, Elena waited until her godmother went to work. Then she emptied the woman's hidden stash of jewelry. After committing the theft, Karimova went straight to a pawn shop, where she received 140,000 rubles for the jewelry. Elena spent part of this money on buying a large suitcase, chocolate, fire-starting materials, and renting a car. After loading the purchases into the car, she went to pick up the children and headed to a forest near Nizhny Novgorod vegetable storage facility. Elena drove about 65 kilometers along the Nizhny Novgorod-Kirov highway, stopping near an abandoned vegetable storage facility on the outskirts of the village of Osinki. Local residents and motorists had turned the former vegetable storage facility into an illegal dump. It was there that the criminal decided to complete what she had started. An hour later, firefighters arrived at the vegetable storage facility, which was billowing thick smoke. They quickly extinguished the fire and entered the building, where they were met with a horrifying sight that left them stunned. They are doing well. When the discovery was reported to the police, they vigorously began searching for the perpetrator. One of the local residents immediately recalled a car that had been parked by the roadside near the vegetable storage facility that day. Fortunately, the car had a dashcam, which helped identify who had rented the vehicle. Meanwhile, Elena returned home to her godmother as if nothing had happened. She was in a cheerful mood, laughing and joking as if she had just been to a comedy movie. I asked her, "Where are the children?" She replied, "I left them with a friend." The next day I asked again, and she dismissed it with, "Don't worry, they are doing fine." I didn't know then that she had stolen my jewelry and done something like this. Double quotes dash the godmother of Elena recounted. Arrest. Elena Karimova was arrested on April 27, 2018, and brought in for questioning. The woman did not deny anything and immediately confessed, explaining her actions with the following words: "Children were costing me too much, and I no longer wanted to live in poverty. But shortly after, Elena recanted her confession, claiming that she had confessed under duress. According to her, The crime was allegedly committed by two strangers somehow connected to the children's father.